something that Rob completely went against. What I told people and what I will tell you is that my experience has been that Commissioner Rob Manfred does not like implementing rule changes in the face of players. The collective bargain agreement allows him to notify the union of a rule change, and if the players don't agree to it, there's an ability to implement that rule change 1 year later. The collective bargaining agreement signed back in 22 changed that provision, which allowed the commissioner to implement things after a waiting period, not of a year, but of 45 days. But it has always been the case that the final year before collective bargaining and when the agreement was going to run out, and that is next year, the commissioner didn't like implementing anything so as not to cause any, shall we say, rockier paths toward an agreement. And as you know, in your own life, when you get something forced upon you, it's harder to embrace than when it's something that was either your idea or something that was a collaborative effort. So what Rob came out and said is, be warned, we may implement the ABS for 26. I thought they wouldn't do it until 27. Let it go. Let it be part of the next CBA. But he said, I think we're going to pursue the possibility to change this process. We'll see what happens, but I've gotten great feedback from the players. So here's how that goes. What goes is you have a competition committee meeting. The competition committee, that one that I used to be on, now has players on it as well as team representatives. However, the league controls the committee. The league has 6 members on it, which is a controlling amount. And believe me, those 6 members vote the same way. Which means that you can bring something to the competition committee like the pitch clock. You can bring something to the competition committee like a challenge system for automatic balls and strikes. And the players could all vote against it, and it could still pass the competition committee, and it can become a rule. So why is it that Rob would say right now after an owners meeting, listen, folks, and he's talking, make no mistake, when he's meeting the media, he's talking directly to Tony Clark. When he sits with Tony Clark, eventually at the table, which comes long after the deputies sit at the table, that's that Bruce Mayer and Dan Hallam, when he gets to the table, he has it extremely in his head what he wants to accomplish on every topic. It is the most organized negotiating you've ever seen that Rob Manfred's done. He's been doing it for decades. And the reason that he chooses to do it that way is it leads to victories just about every time. So when he sits there and tells you, I think we may go for ABS, and by the way, players haven't had a problem with that. Players have all been saying through spring training, this is a system they like. It cuts the legs off the argument of Tony Clark at the table saying, when they go to the table next year, hey, you did that. We were furious. That was unacceptable. That's not the way to treat a partner. But guess what? If you've got the, this is crazy to say, but it really is true. Players have to be so careful because we're listening to everything. If you've got players who you know are not going to fight something, and you know it's only the people at the negotiating table who are fighting it because they have to fight everything, we ignore that as management. We give that zero credibility. We don't make a trade for that. Oh, you want to give us the challenge system? All right, we'll give you a couple extra pennies in your retirement pension fund. We don't give anything when we know we have player support because we know that the negotiators are just bluffing. So you have to be very careful. I have a wait to see that's pending on this, Coca. Did you know that? When is it? Back from 2024, I said ABS is going to come in 2026. That'd be a good wait to see to follow up on.